Is HyreCar worth it or not? I've seen HyreCar all over the place, even on this channel, tons of ads for them. Is it a good idea for rideshare drivers? First off, what is HyreCar? As you can see right away, this allows you to rent a car from somebody else to drive for Uber, Lyft, Uber Eats, DoorDash, basically any on-demand gig service like delivery driving, rideshare driving, and more. So if you want, you can list your own car through HyreCar. Think of it kind of like, almost like Airbnb, but for your own vehicle, if that makes sense. So in terms of driving for Uber and Lyft, getting more specific, in terms of renting a car, you have to sign up, find a car, submit an application, then you meet the owner somewhere. Sometimes you have to go to them, or it seems like a good amount of the time. That is something to keep in mind, which we'll talk about in a second. Sometimes the owner will deliver the car to you, or you can work something out. Then, as you can see here, make sure you upload your vehicle documents to your rideshare and delivery driver accounts as soon as you get them, so you can start making money immediately after pickup. A lot of these cars will actually have a note saying, hey, you can use this car to drive for Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, whatever the case is, and then boom, you can start making money. Now, I'm going to be honest, I like this idea. There's also another company called Turo, which is more on just the rental side. And here's my honest perspective going here. If you're looking to rent a car in general, let's say you're traveling, I think this is good. Being honest, you can use this, or Turo is another one, like I said. But if you're looking to be a rideshare driver, I actually don't know if this is worth it. Maybe in some cases it is. Now, as you can see, we're in LA right now, and this, the 2008 Avenger Dodge from Don, is $20 a day. Not bad. But remember, there's always some hidden fees and everything. I wonder if I can actually decrease this. No, so that's like the minimum amount, it looks like. If I go, let's say, to rent this car to drive for Uber, let's say I want to do it for a week, right? I go here, it's going to be about $300. $20 for the 7 days, a transaction fee, which is annoying, and the insurance fee, which is understandable, but that's almost the same exact amount. So I'm looking at spending $300 to rent this car, and it's 250 miles a day maximum in terms of the mileage. So let's say if you want to do Uber Eats, Uber or Lyft for just one weekend and that's it. Let's say if you want to test out driving for Uber and Lyft, yeah, maybe this isn't like a bad idea, but as you can see, $300 is almost the same exact amount as if I rent through Lyft on Express Drive or rent a car through Uber to drive for Uber. The prices are kind of comparable, right? And as you can imagine too, I organize price from low to high. This is the minimum amount. I mean, let's say if I'll just do relevance, I guess. Let's just do a Prius, right? Looks like $40 a day. I'm going to do it for 1 week just to show you. Week-long rental discount. Okay, so they do give you some discounts. Boom. $442 for a week. And yeah, it's 1,000 miles a day that's allowed. That's a lot, actually. But $442 for a week? I mean, I feel like that's a lot compared to Uber and Lyft. However, if, let's say, I was just traveling and I needed a car for a week, and let's say I'm going from the East Coast to the West Coast or vice versa, and I want to do like a big road trip and whatnot, $442, not bad for a week of renting a car that gives you pretty high mileage. But to drive for Lyft and Uber, I feel like it's a lot more expensive in comparison. I mean, let's look at even high to low. Especially, oh wait, what is this? I mean, we are in LA, keep in mind, right? So, 2022 Slingshot, what is this car? So if you want to rent this, wait, can you even drive? There's no way you can drive for Uber with this. There's only one other passenger. But if you want to rent this for a week, I mean, it would cost you about $586. I mean, this is a bit ridiculous, right? But as you can see, for a lot of these cars, as you can see in this region, I'm going to organize it back low to high. I mean, there's still going to be a good amount of money, like 20 or 30 bucks a day, plus everything else. And you have to somehow figure out how you're going to obtain this car. Even if I want to drive for just a weekend, I mean, going to, let's say, this area in LA, or this area, I'm probably looking at about a 45-minute drive with traffic. I mean, it depends obviously where you're located in LA, But now you have to figure out, well, how do I get to the person's place? How do I get back to my place after I drop off the car? Do I have to meet them somewhere? And is that going to cost extra money? Or let's say if they want to deliver it to me, is there like a delivery fee? These are all things you have to kind of work out, which makes it a lot trickier because that might eat into your earnings. If you have to spend, like say, 20 bucks in an Uber to get there, because obviously you don't have a car and you're renting, and then 20 bucks to get back, that's already $40 in the hole before you even start driving, and you're already in the hole because you're spending money to rent. Going, let's say, to Lyft Express Drive as an example, this says right here, starting at $229 a week plus taxes, you can rent a car through Lyft. If I go to Uber, weekly rentals as low as $260 a week. Now, I'm going to be honest, these are like the bottom levels. It usually goes up. I'd say on average, look about spending, if you're going through Lyft or Uber, about $300-ish, maybe a little more, as you can imagine, depending on a lot of different factors, but about $300-ish to rent. So that comes out to be about $1,200 a month if you want to rent through Uber and Lyft. I just feel like, I hate to say it, that is a better way to go, especially going through Uber. You know, if let's say I want to rent a Tesla, I can definitely do that. As you can see here too, low commitment cars, no upfront costs, and no long-term contracts. And if I go down here, you know, I can go down here as well in terms of I can either do it hourly or weekly. Weekly makes a lot more sense. And then they have these vehicle partners here, Avis, Hertz, and a lot more. Overall, it's tough to say, I'm going to be honest. The main advantage I see with HyreCar is you can rent a car for a very short period of time. With Uber and Lyft, even though, yeah, they say, oh, there's no contract or anything like that, there's no commitment, so to speak, you do have to look at it as a weekly rental. With HyreCar, you can rent it for 2 days if you want. Keep in mind, for HyreCar, it's a minimum 2 days typically, so that is something to keep in mind. And I gotta be honest, as you can see from HyreCar, it is very, very expensive, even for the cheapest option for, let's say, a week or a couple of days. It can add up super fast. And when it comes to people traveling and, let's say, looking to rent a car, HyreCar is a great option. Like I said, very similar to Airbnb, where you rent someone else's car, you use it, you drop it back off. However, when it comes to rideshare driving, I just feel like you're gonna be spending a lot more money. In addition, you have to connect the car to your account, like I said, in terms of having the required documents and all those logistics. It's just a lot. And the only advantage I can think of for a HyreCar, for rideshare drivers and delivery drivers, is if you want to give it a test run. Let's say you rent a car for 3 days, and you're like, you know what, I'm going to drive for Uber in my area for 1 weekend. Just going to test it out. If I make a good amount of money, maybe I'll then rent a car through Uber and Lyft. If I don't, I only wasted 3 days and that money, and obviously you're going to make money, but at least now you're not locked into a weekly rental or something along those lines. And lastly, and this is big not for HyreCar, but for Uber and Lyft as well, I've already done videos about renting a car through Uber and through Lyft, is the fact that you're starting off in the hole. Let's say you do HyreCar or Uber or Lyft, any of them, and let's say you're starting off at $300 in terms of your rental. Well, you're starting negative $300. So you have to make $300 just to break even. Let's say something comes up. Let's be honest, you get lazy. Or let's say you're like, oh, shoot, you know, I have this and this going on, you know, whatever the case is. You could be actually losing money, even if you do work, than making money. I mean, let's say you rent a car through HyreCar or through Uber or Lyft. You drive around and you make $200. You're like, oh, great, $200. You're technically still negative $100. Even if, let's say, you make $299, for example, you're actually still losing money, technically $1, not to mention all that time. And I think that's the tricky thing about rentals. This is true just in general. You're starting off really in the hole and in the red, and then you have to work your way up and get out of that. And that's just part of, renting in general. But that is something to keep in mind, that when looking at any rental service whatsoever, when it comes to ride sharing, delivery driving, ask yourself, are you able to not only break even, right? Because remember, that's going to cost you time as well, but can you drive a lot more on top of that to make more money?